Hi guys, so Boris Johnson took some questions from MPs and they talked about how Boris Johnson's chief advisor, Dominic Cummings, how his actions could undermine public health and create confusion. So let's hear what they had to say.
So you said that a number of the allegations that are made about Dominic Cummings were false. You were with him for 6 hours. Did you see the evidence to prove that?
Meg, I don't want to
yes
go
or no,
into,
Prime Minister. It's a simple question. Yes, or did you see the evidence?
I don't want to go into much more than I've said.
It's a simple question. Did you see the evidence?
If it pleases you, I will say yes, I did.
Boris, you can't say yes. If it pleases you, I'll say yes. Boris Johnson can't say, I have seen the evidence. Because if he says, I have seen the evidence, then he will have to show the evidence. But because there's probably no evidence, he can't show that. So he has to, he can't say, no, I haven't seen the evidence, because then it would show that he was acting in an irregular way. He was taking a decision not based on evidence. He was taking Dominic Cummings' word for it. Then there would be questions, why are you taking Dominic Cummings' word for something? But at the same time, he can't say, yes, I've seen the evidence, because then he'll have to show the evidence.
But I don't want to.
Okay, well, if that's fine. I promise you saw the evidence. Would you agree that it would be a good idea for the Cabinet Secretary to see that, or for it to be published? And then this problem might be off your table.
Well, I think actually that it would not be doing my job if I were now to shuffle this problem into the hands of officials who, believe me, Meg, are, as I think the public would want, working flat out to deal.
But Dominic Cummings' actions undermine public health. So this is important. I know you would like just to sweep it under the carpet. Let's sweep it under the carpet and move on and forget about it, because it's an embarrassment to me and it's a problem. If it had been some backbencher MP or some Tory party supporter who had broke the rules, this would not be a problem. Dominic Cummings is your chief advisor. Dominic Cummings was part of the decision making for these rules. You know, it would be almost as if Matt Hancock had broke the rules, or you had broke the rules. If it had been a minister outside health, probably we could ignore this. We'd say, okay, they broke the rules. It's not good, but they're not the minister for health or health secretary. They're not someone key in the decision making for these rules. But Dominic Cummings was. He advised you on what rules to put in place. He sat in on SAGE meetings. You can't sweep this under the carpet, Boris.
With coronavirus.
But let me ask you about your instructions now to parents who either have COVID or have the symptoms of COVID, who won't know how seriously they're going to get it, and who have no local childcare available. Is the message to those parents now the one from Jenny Harries to stay at home unless there's a risk to life, and if you do get ill, contact the community hubs? Or is it the message from the Transport Secretary and the Communities Secretary to be able to travel to wherever you have a support network? In the words of Robert Jenrick this morning, if you don't have ready access to childcare, then you can do as Dominic Cummings did. Which is it?
So it's very simple. Should you stay at home, or should you travel 260 miles if you feel it's necessary across the country? But Boris Johnson can't respond to this because his entire platform is based on vague messages, on confusion. I don't think Boris Johnson himself knows what advice is to be actually presented to the public.
Well, I'm not certain, Yvette, that there's as much of a discrepancy between those two bits of advice as you suggest. And I think what Jenny was trying to say was that if you've got exceptional difficulties with childcare, then you should take account of them.
Okay, but we're not talking about exceptional difficulties with childcare. We're talking about the very normal difficulties with childcare. So if you are trying to tackle local outbreaks and prevent them spreading, You need to be giving clear advice to parents.
Yeah.
And what is it? Because it is not clear to me from listening to Jenny Harries and to Robert Jenrick what that advice to parents who are in Dominic Cummings' situation.
The clear advice is to stay at home unless you absolutely have to go to work to do your job. If you have exceptional problems with childcare, then that may cause you to vary.
But she didn't say exceptional problems. She said ordinary problems with healthcare. Childcare. She didn't say exceptional issues regarding childcare.
Your arrangements, and that's clear. The fundamental advice remains absolutely unchanged, which is wash your hands, observe social distancing.
How is this relevant to childcare? Wash your hands and maintain social distancing. How is that relevant to childcare? And how is this relevant to what Dominic Cummings did? I assume Dominic Cummings washed his hands and attempted to stay away from people. But the problem was that he was infected and he travelled across the country. Once again, this is irrelevant to the actual problem.
And self-isolate if you have symptoms and get a test.
I'm asking specifically about your advice to parents who have COVID. Advice to parents you are not giving. The reason that you are not giving, the reason you are ducking it, the reason you're trying to.
I'm not ducking. Actually, I've just said that I agree. I don't think that you're actually
travel across the country, even though it may mean them having to go into a hospital somewhere else where they may see further infections. Do you want them to do that? Or do you want them to stay put when they don't have local childcare, like around a quarter of parents?
Yvette, I think you'd have to look at each individual case and the particular
So this is a greater problem that she's highlighting here. The idea that parents don't have access to sufficient childcare. So parents are forced to travel further afield. And also because of the lockdown, it's much more difficult for them to find childcare. So she's asking a legitimate question, but this is a bigger question regarding British society at the moment. A society that the Tories have implemented, have forced upon the people. These cuts to public services, to health, to many other facilities for citizens. So she's asking a bigger question here. But once again, Boris Johnson isn't interested in answering it.
Circumstances that my advisor explained. I think what Jenny Harries was trying to say was that where there are exceptional difficulties, then people needed to take account of them. And other than that, I don't really know what I can add.
So can you tell us, you have a choice between protecting Dominic Cummings and putting the national interest first. Which will it be, Prime Minister?
Well, I think my choice is the choice that the British people will want us all to make, Yvette, and that is, as far as we possibly can, to lay aside party political point scoring.
You see the arrogance here. Boris is angry here. He's like, don't bring up politics. Don't bring up Dominic Cummings. But Boris, you can't get away from this. Your advisor broke the rules, and he was part of the decision-making for those rules. It's not some random backbencher. It's not just somebody on the street who happened to support the Conservative Party. This is the equivalent of you breaking the rules, or Matt Hancock breaking the rules. Dominic Cummings was part of the decision-making. Him breaking the rules is extremely important. It undermines public confidence in these rules themselves. You can't get away with saying, look, we need to move on from this. This is an attempt to score political points. These are legitimate questions. If the chief advisor to the Prime Minister is breaking the rules, then how can you ask the general public to follow those rules? How can you say you need to follow the rules even though I or my advisor isn't doing that?
And to put the national interest first, and to be very clear with the British public about what we want to do and how we want to take this country forward.
But you're not being clear, Boris. if you wanted to be extremely clear, you could have said to Dominic Cummings, you broke the rules. Now, you may believe you broke the rules for legitimate reasons. I may believe you have done it for legitimate motivations as well. But it undermines confidence that the public need in our society, in our government. The government message of stay at home, stay alert, whatever the hell that means, but at least stay at home, has been undermined. Social distancing is pointless if people are allowed to travel 260 miles across the country. I really don't understand how people are missing this point. Public confidence has been undermined. Other politicians or other senior civil servants who've broken the rules have resigned. Now, maybe the departments that they were working in have lost important expertise, but it was better for them to resign than to undermine public confidence. Once again, this is about public confidence. It's not about what Dominic Cummings thought was right or wrong, or whether he broke the rules because he believed it was the right thing to do, or whether you thought it was the right thing to do. He has undermined public confidence. Any politician who undermines public confidence, irrespective of the issue, should resign. They are elected, they receive huge salaries for a particular reason. And once they break the rules, once they undermine public confidence, they have to resign. There's no other way about it. That it's as clear as crystal. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks. Why not become a Patreon and enjoy access to our Discord server where we share news, chat, and have some fun. If you become a patron, you can also make video suggestions on topics that are important to you. Check it out via the link in the description.